Down the stretch we come in the 2022 Texas high school football season. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Believe it or not, we're in week 10 of the Texas high school football season, and believe it or not, there are some teams that the season's over after this week. That's right, teams that are going to have a week 11 bye. That's it. They're going to be blowing up basketballs on Monday. That's the nature of the beast now. We are into real nitty-gritty time of the Texas high school football season. There are playoff races in full swing. There are teams that are playing for their season this week, not to mention the usual slew of big-time state-ranked matchups. There's huge games in every corner of the state this week. We start in the Brazos Valley. 7 o'clock Friday night at Cougar Stadium in College Station. It's a huge rivalry matchup in the Brazos Valley as the A&M Consolidated Tigers visit the College Station Cougars. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number one, young stars. The future's really bright for both of these programs, and you can tell because they're reliant on a lot of youngsters to get the job done. Everywhere you look, there's sophomores and juniors playing key roles for these two 5A Division I powers. On the College Station side, they have an outstanding running back named Aiden Martinez-Brown who had a breakout game last week. He has been such a strong part of their running game, kind of replacing Marquise Collins, who is such an important part of their run to a state championship game last year. On the other side, at A&M Consolidated, their sophomore quarterback Will Hargett has been really strong. As taking care of the football, I think that his accuracy is really what sets him apart. He's not throwing the ball into traffic, and that is a real testament to not only his talent, but also the coaching around him. Now, this is also a big stage, big rivalry game in this matchup. So, which of these young core of talent can step up the best? Key number two, the Cougars pass rush. Let's talk about the front seven for College Station, led by Corbin Johnson and Malik Cotton. For the most part, been very strong this year. You take a look at their 6 wins. They've got a combined 14 sacks and 56 tackles for loss as a team in those 6 games. Pretty darn good. That's going to win you a bunch of ball games. But if they don't get the backfield, they don't win. That's just the name of the game for them. Their 2 losses on the year, they have a combined 1 sack and 1 tackle for loss. That's it. So their loss against Georgetown and their loss to Lovejoy, they have not been able to get in the backfield. I think it's especially important in this game with a young quarterback in Will Hargett. See if you're able to rattle him, because if he's able to sit back there and pick apart this defense, he will absolutely do this. So, can the Cougars front 7 get home? And key number 3, is this a rivalry or not? So, it's actually a fair question. You know, it sounds crazy because, of course, they're geographically aligned. They're the 2 biggest schools in College Station, but on one hand, they haven't played since 2017, right? This has been a dormant rivalry for a few years. And also, A&M Consolidated's never won. Yeah, College Station, the young program in College Station, they're 4-0 against the Tigers all time in this series. So, you hear that all the time. A rivalry's not a rivalry if only one team wins. Well, then maybe this game isn't necessarily a rivalry. But that has to stick in the craw of A&M Consolidated, especially these young players who have never played College Station. An opportunity to make a little bit of history. On the other hand, for College Station, they want to prove that, yeah, that's not some fluke. We are the dominant force in College Station. So, let's find out once and for all. Is this a rivalry or not? Who am I picking? I'm going with A&M Consolidated. The Tigers get the nod here for a couple of reasons. One, I think Will Hargett, their quarterback, is the real deal. I think they're going to be able to run the ball fairly well with Keyshawn Thomas, and I think their defense has been pretty strong all year long. Furthermore, I don't love the current trajectory of this College Station team. Last week against Georgetown really spooks me. They fell behind 35-3 before rallying to make it a little bit more cosmetically appealing towards the end, but in the end, they were functionally non-competitive in the first half. That scares me going up against this A&M Consolidated team. Now, College Station, when they've played their best, is certainly capable of winning this game. If they're able to get a big game from Aiden Brown-Martinez, their running back, and a game from their quarterback, Arrington Maiden, I think they've got an opportunity to win this game. But I think A&M Consolidated is the better team right now. And I think that the defense is playing particularly well. I think that the Tigers get their first ever win in the series. Give me A&M Consolidated. Let's go to Houston. 7 o'clock Thursday night at Turner Stadium in Humble. It is a top 10 matchup in Class 6A as the Humble-Atascocita Eagles welcome in the number 1 team in the state, the Galena Park North Shore Mustangs. And this is for the District 21 6A title, and it's almost certainly for seeding in the Division I bracket. The winner, the number 1 seed, the loser, the number 2 seed. Atascocita has been bobbing along. They had that early loss to Katy, which was very competitive, but since then they've been rolling. Quarterback Zion Brown and running back Torrey Blaylock have been great. And the difference for me for this Atascocita team has been their defense, which really stepped up. Big defensive tackle Samu Tomano Pepe, I practiced that in the mirror, has been very strong in that front seven. But let's put that aside for a moment, because I really think this game is a referendum on North Shore without Caleb Bailey. If you missed it, quarterback Caleb Bailey has been out for the past few years. We don't know his status. We don't expect him to play in this game. They have moved wide receiver David Amador over from wide receiver to the quarterback spot, and he's been pretty good. They call him Touchdown Dave for a reason. He's been spectacular, but this is their first real test against a major top 10 opponent with a backup quarterback. What exactly does that look like? Can the Galena Park North Shore defense, which has been excellent all year long, carry their weight as well? The series has been dominated by North Shore of late. They've won the last 4 meetings, but I actually think Atascocita is in a better position to win this game. Give me the Eagles. Let's bounce up to the DFW Metroplex. 7 o'clock Friday night at Panther Stadium in Duncanville. It's another top 10 clash in Class 6A as the DeSoto Eagles visit the Duncanville Panthers. District 11 6A title is on the line here, and these two teams know each other well, and they don't particularly care for one another, which is going to make this all the more fun for us. DeSoto looks different. Really and truly, they look different. It's not just the skill position guys. They will have the better skill position players in this game because they might have the best skill position players in the state at any level. They're really good. Wide receiver, John Tay Cook is the headliner, but they run the ball particularly well, and they've got a great quarterback in DJ Bailey. Plus, I think their fronts have actually been better this year. That's going to get put to a big test this week against Duncanville, who is traditionally a team that has mashed DeSoto up front, and it hasn't necessarily mattered what kind of playmakers they have on the outside. Now, they're able to run the ball with Caden Durham. Their quarterback, Keelan Russell, I think, has grown into the role. But make no mistake, this is about the Duncanville front seven, led by Colin Simmons, which is just ferocious. It's a wood chipper. They are really, really talented, and I think this whole game comes down to whether or not DeSoto can protect DJ Bailey up against that ferocious front seven and give him time. Because if he's got time to throw, I think there are plays to be made against this Duncanville secondary. That's really interesting. One other note in this one, which I think is very tasty. So the last time DeSoto beat Duncanville was in 2016. The head coach of that DeSoto team was Todd Peterman. Todd Peterman is the offensive coordinator at Duncanville. That's tasty. Fascinating matchup here. I think I give the nod to the Panthers. But enough about the big schools. Let's go small school. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Pruitt Field in Jonesboro. It is a top 5 matchup in Class 1A. Big-time 6-man matchup as the May Tigers visit the Jonesboro Eagles. District title is almost certainly on the line in this one. Going to be a fascinating matchup. Jonesboro does have one loss on the year, but it's to Westbrook, who's number 2 in the state. I don't think there's really any shame in losing that game. I think Caleb Crystal, their spread back has been very strong leading this Jonesboro attack. Going up against May, which graduated really heavy last year, but has reloaded. They're 8-0. They are battle-tested. Damian Salinas, their 2-way star, has been excellent. I actually think that if you're a 6-man football fan, you're going to want to keep your expectations low as far as scoring is concerned. I think both these defenses are going to be the dominant forces in this one. I think this is going to be a low-scoring slugfest, but I do think that May pulls out a narrow win. But those are far from the only big games in Week 10 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. Down south, I like Brackettville over Charlotte. Farther down south, I like Brownsville Veterans Memorial over Harlingen South. And up north, I like Abilene over Amarillo. Give me Brownwood over Andrews, DeKalb over Hooks, and big game in the Panhandle, I like Amarillo Tascosa over Lubbock Cooper. Big weekend in El Paso, I like El Paso Franklin over El Paso Eastwood. Give me El Paso Pebble Hills over El Paso Eastlake. And I like Austin Westlake over Austin Bowie. I think Lexington stays perfect with a win over Rogers. Battle of Unbeatens in Central Texas. I like Mart over Dawson. Give me Barbers Hill over Port Arthur Memorial. Santo bounces back with a win over Celeste. Seymour gets by Windthorst. And I think Bernie beats Somerset in a big game in Greater San Antonio. Give me Tidehaven over Bowling. Timpson gets by Shelbyville. And I like Burleson Centennial over Justin Northwest. Wimberley stays perfect with a win over Lago Vista. Carthage stays perfect with a win over Van. And give me Clarendon over Shamrock. Give me Devine over Pearsall. Dumas takes down Canyon. And a district title's on the line. I like Edinburgh North over Edinburgh. I like Edinburgh Vela over La Jolla Palmview. El Campo gets by Stafford, and the gauntlet continues for Franklin. I think they squeak by Cameron Yeo. District title on the line in DFW. I like Grapevine over Fort Worth Arlington Heights, and give me Gunner to beat Leonard. Hawley keeps rolling with a win over Stamford. Give me Hitchcock to stay perfect with a win over Hallettsville. And the other big game in District 21 6A, I like Humble Summer Creek over Sheldon C.E. King. I like Ingleside over Orange Grove. Lumberton gets by Little Cypress Mauriceville, and Mansfield Timberview stays perfect with a win over Richland. Give me Manville over Fulshire. Mason gets by Stockdale, and Munster takes down Collinsville. It's Mid-County Madness. I like Port Neches Groves to get by Nederland. I think Prosper hands Allen their second consecutive loss, and give me Round Rock over Round Rock Cedar Ridge. Big week in San Antonio. I like San Antonio Wagner over Seguin. Give me Cibolo Steel over Converse Judson, and Shallowater stays white hot with a win over Muleshoe. Let's start in DFW and move east. I like South Lake Carroll over Byron Nelson in a matchup of unbeatens. I like Tatum over Jefferson, and way out east I like Texas High over White House. I like the Woodlands over Willis. Give me Tomball over Klein Collins, and Waco Connolly beats Madisonville. I'm going with Wall over Early, and Whitesboro beats Paradise. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy week 10 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you.